Good. Hey. Hey, Nav. What is it this time? Oh, what is it this time? You think you can just leave for 2 weeks and pretend it didn't happen? Yeah, I know, but things got a little busy with school. So. Oh yeah. Things got a little busy with school. What do you even have to do? Well, there was exams, there was culminating, there was final marks, there was. All right, I don't need to hear about it, man. Just get on with the video. You mean do the thing I was about to do before you interrupted me? Yeah, duh. Dude, what's wrong with you? Cool. Thanks, man. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on what time zone you're in, or what time you're watching this video. We are officially back. I feel like it's been forever, and I'm really sorry about that, but things got very hectic. But now that school is mostly over for all most intents and purposes, we can get back to this, get back to getting to listen to new music with each other, and that is one of my favorite things to do. So I'm excited to be here, so excited to see you again. But without further ado, I love you all. Let's jump into it, shall we? I didn't realize how pink the screen was, and I feel kind of like I look like a salmon now. Although I do love sushi, so salmon sushi's kind of a win, right? All right, whatever. Let's jump into it. I love that. As I walk through this life, I might fall, I might stumble. Okay, hang on. I love trumpets in music, and when they're done well, they just add so much texture to a song, and I feel like it's gonna happen here. It already feels like it is. But on top of that, Eden's tone of her voice, I enjoy that a lot. It's very, I don't know, relaxing almost. Okay. As I walk through this life, I might fall, I might stumble. Try to make friends with my pain, cause my pain keeps me humble. Okay, hang on. Because I don't want to forget about it. Something I really love is when lyrics kind of take when lyric videos take the lyrics and visually represent them, right? So something we're seeing here is the try to make friends with my pain is kind of like this up and down, which is very similar to life, isn't it? Life is a whole series of up and downs, but the whole point is that you can't enjoy life without experiencing the bad times. Because if you always have highs, you're never going to know, if you always have highs, you're never going to really know what a high feels like to enjoy because you've always had highs. So to you, they're just constants, right? So those lows are actually really important. And so something that's being said here is you try to make friends with your pain because it keeps you humble, right? And that's kind of a cool little way to think about it, is that those lows, those pains that you're experiencing help to give you that groundedness. And I really like that because, you don't want to get too big-headed by life always being upbeat and positive, because even though that sounds great, you'll never really appreciate the highs if you don't have the lows. And I really like how this is up and down. That's such a cool way to show that. And something that's cool is when we started talking about this pain, the whole screen went blue, right? Because you're experiencing that pain as almost like a sadness. And I love when there's a juxtaposition between the sound of the music or the way that something is being sang and the lyrics. Because right now we're talking about our pain, but doesn't it sound so nice and comforting? So good. Okay, and that I love that. And was that pink? Is that because it's almost to represent that this is you using the blue to emphasize the pink, right? Which is, I'm going to argue, the good times. I might be wrong, but it kind of feels like that so far. And that's kind of what we're seeing here is even amidst all that blue, there is this pink, which was kind of to represent that you're using that pain to humble you. Yo, this is dope right off the bat. Okay. Slow and release, let the air expand your lungs, let your body bring you peace to the sea. To the sea I will speak, down my troubles to the waves as they wash my soul clean. Won't you purge me, here as I stand, down in the gallows my darkness will hang. Hurt me, and I will not flinch, firm in my ground, I will not move an inch. Okay, hang on. Yo, I heard the music kind of drop out for a second and then come back in. I'm guessing I kind of stopped at a drop. I apologize. But I think it is what it is. The pink is like to represent like the goodness in life, right? But something I really also enjoyed was when it was like breathe. It was this kind of like slow. Where is it? Where is it? Here. Okay. It was kind of this like slow breathe, and then she says slow and release. Yeah. Oh, I like that so much. Watch.
Breathe, slow
Ah.
and release. Let the air expand your lungs. Let your body bring you peace to the.
And that's the best, because this is like when you're experiencing like a really painful moment or a really difficult moment or an anxiety driven moment, like being able to kind of just breathe, take a step back and like release that energy, that negative energy that you're experiencing, can help a lot, right? Although sometimes you obviously there are some terrible, terrible times you just don't find that peace in that moment at that time. But this is what you have to do when you kind of get to take that step back. Just breathe and release that, right? And then we kind of start talking about the waves, right, in the sea. And again, we've kind of spoken about, or we've talked a little bit about what the sea can mean, and it can be all your troubles, or I guess in this way it's where you're going to kind of release those things that you're feeling, and you're telling your pains to the sea, right? You're kind of letting it all out there for the world to have, instead of keeping them condemned to yourself. But again, even that idea, like when you're at the beach on your own, it kind of gives you that sense of like you're alone, right? And there is a sense of comfort when you're alone. Like honestly, the sound of waves, especially thinking about being at the beach, to me is so comforting. And maybe that's why this person is at the beach, right? But then also metaphorically, it's the sea of problems and the sea of life that you live in all the time, that you're kind of almost using the waves to help you get rid of the energy of the sea. And that's kind of a really cool little twist on that. I like that a lot.
My troubles to the waves as they wash my soul clean. Won't you purge me, purge me? Here as I stand.
Again,
down
the pink.
in the gallows, my darkness will hang.
Ooh, down in the gallows, my darkness will hang. And look at the way this is structured. It's down. The word is down, but then it's also like it's someone hanging on the side, and it's in the gallows, my darkness will hang, because that's it, right? You take that darkness and you hang it, but it's almost like we're talking about using it as a way to emphasize the good. Well, maybe it's letting it hang, not necessarily like killing it, but also letting it hang to remind you of the good times, like a hanging a picture. I really like that idea. Okay, very cool, very cool.
Hurt me, and I will not flinch. Firm in my ground, I will not move an inch. As I walk through this life, on my fault, now my stumble.
Woo! Oh, hang on. Oh my god, I was not ready for that energy, but that was fantastic. But the hurt me, and I will not flinch. It's because you've gotten used to the idea of pain, right? Pain is just a part of life, and that's how you got to move through it, because you know it's going to come at some point. The way that you approach it is the important thing. And so it's hurt me. I will not flinch. I'm standing strong in my ideals and in my own strength, and using it to perpetuate me forward. Or perpetuate? I don't know if that's the right word for that. Whatever. But to keep you going forward. And I love that. Oh my god. Okay. Was that red? Because that sounded fantastic.
Will not flinch. Firm in my ground, I will not move an inch. As I walk through this life, on my fault, now my stumble. Whoa.
Oh.
I try to make friends with my pain, 'cause my pain, it keeps me humble. Whoa. When I wake up in the morning, sometimes I feel so blue, like a guitar with a broken string that can't hold the tune. 'Cause every time real breaks around me, bursting my balloon, and I really need some healing, 'cause I find out the breathing and I'm breathing all my feelings to you. Because I'm so.
Whoa. What? Okay, yo. Say what you will. Red is fantastic. This guy can rap. Like, it's just his skills, how fast. Like, even I've tried to do the part in Blind Eyed so many times where he just goes into overdrive. God damn, I cannot keep up with that. But this is just, he's so talented with the actual enunciation, but also just keeping up with the rhythm. That's so good. But also, this is what I meant. This is what I was talking about. Like, when he shows this, there we go. Okay, hang on. There. It all turns blue when he says blue, and I love that kind of reflection, right? And the thing about this is he's saying, when I wake up in the morning, sometimes I feel so blue, because yeah, you wake up and you're like, oh man, your life's kind of tough, right? But it's about using that difficulty. And then he says here, like a guitar with a broken string, and then the string snaps. the little string that was in the center of the screen at the beginning. That's so cool. Oh my god. Okay, there's just so much happening. And there is some pricks around, and they're bursting my balloon. And that's a very common expression, like you're bursting my bubble, right? But it's balloon. And in that sense, balloons are supposed to go up and up and up, especially when you fill them with helium. And in this case, there's some pricks around who are maybe not so nice people, or even maybe not so nice thoughts that kind of pop the balloon. That's supposed to be making you feel like you're ascending, feeling better and better and better, going higher and higher and higher. But then all of a sudden there's this pop because there's something in your life that makes you feel like it's not as good as it should be. And that's such a cool way to say that. But then on top of that, I really need to be healing because I find it hard to breathe in and I'm bleeding all my feelings to you. What a great, like, just, man. Because he's basically saying, like, he needs to find that healing, right? He needs to feel better in this moment because he's basically finding it hard to breathe in this moment. And so because of that, he's bleeding all the feelings to you. And I wonder if that's quite literally to us because he's putting it down on paper and then giving it to us to listen to and experience. But that's also therapy for him. And this is something that NF talks about, where like the music is his therapy. And that's the same thing for Ren. The music is his therapy. It's how he releases. And so when I think about that now, even the sea, maybe the sea is the sea of people that he's singing this to, that he's kind of letting us experience his pains and using that to rejuvenate himself. But then on top of that, it could be just to you, like literally himself, where he's kind of going through these problems he's experiencing by himself to help him move through it as well. And it's just, oh my god, so many layers to Ren all the time. Oh my god. He's taking because I'm so down, but like a roundabout, I'm about to turn it back around. Oh no, where'd it go? Hang on. Flip it, but like a roundabout, he's taking because I'm so. When he does stuff like this, there's just that right, like where he just lets it go. Oh, that stuff hits so hard, and it's just that raw energy that we feel. Down, but like a roundabout, I'm about to turn it back around. Flip it like a kick, flip a switch, I'll flip my lid. Coming with the style that's rude. Yo, this is gonna be my new power. Oh my god. So saying take that feeling and like a roundabout, turn it all around, right? Because at a roundabout you can go 180. Everyone always says 360, and that kills me because 360 is just back where you started. But if you go 180, you can turn that whole ship around, right? And you feel a little bit better about that. And I love that. And what we saw on the roundabout was the circle and the lyrics actually going around to represent his feelings. Then we get to flip it like a kick flip, which is a skateboard thing where you literally flip the board, right? You're turning things upside down. And so what he's saying here is he's going to change his experience and take the negatives and turn them upside down and make them positives. But then right after that, and again the lyrics did a flip with that, and then after that we see flick a switch, I'll flip up my mood. And that's what we see. The thing goes up and then down. Up goes the pink and down goes the blue, which is so cool because it's like, yeah, you gotta take control of your own feelings and help adjust that, right? And that's what he's saying to do. Oh my god damn. And yeah, you know what, Ren? Your style is rude in the best of ways. Okay. I want to go through that all one more time just to see that the lyric reflecting in the actual video. Oh my god. Like a roundabout, I'm about to turn it back around. Flip it like a kick, flip a switch, I'll flip my lid. Coming with the style that's rude. As I walk through this life, I might fall, I might stumble. I try to make friends with my pain, cause my pain, it keeps me humble. Yo, something to point out. Now the background's pink and the whoa is blue, right? Because we've kind of oriented our mind and are now experiencing the joys in life that are being emphasized by those pains that we were saying at the start. That's so cool. Like, because this is very different from this. And it's the same text, same kind of facing of the text, but we've just switched the colors because now we've reoriented our mind. Yo, that's so clean. Oh my god.
try not to outgrow these boots. Sometimes I stumble, try to stay firm in my roots. This world's a jungle, but these streets hold the sweetest fruit. Lesson to be learned here every time I brew.
Hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, wow. Guys, honestly, I'm so impressed by the lyric video. I'm having trouble kind of focusing on the lyrics themselves, which is ironic. But we're basically saying, like, we walk through life, right? Like, we're constantly moving. And yeah, we might fall, we might stumble, which is what we've kind of been saying. But those pains keep us humble. And so you don't want to try, like, one of the lyrics that was said is trying not to outgrow these boots, because one, you're walking in those boots, right? And they've kept you going this far. So obviously you need to stay in those boots. And that's why it says try to stay firm in my roots, because your roots are what brought you up. And if they got you this far, you're probably doing pretty well. And then you got to remember that what got you this far is also pain, right? Is also those experiences, like, because like was said, this world's a jungle, right? And the jungle of life that we're walking through, that's got these crazy animals, this crazy, like, almost foreign experience to it at times, is something where it has the sweetest fruits. Because yeah, in those pains that we sometimes find in that jungle of life, there are those moments, those sweet nectarines, or whatever. Probably not nectarines, actually. Whatever we find in the jungle, I should know this. But those sweet fruits that you enjoy from life are only enjoyable because you had to walk to get to them, right? You had to go through the jungle to get to those sweet fruits. And you would not have had the same experience had you just been given those fruits. And I love that idea. And one of the things here is a lesson to be learned every time we bruise, because yeah, in every failure or every slip up or every fault, there's a lesson to be taken from it, because you can use that maybe misstep to help make sure that you do things better next time, or you can use it to emphasize the good times. And I love that now when we're thinking in this mindset, we've got this pink background again. Oh, so good. Oh my God.
Lesson to be learned here every time I brew. But bruise not a fool, but I will make mistakes.
Yeah.
And I learn every mistake I make.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The wisdom that this fool will create. No one in this world but me decides my fate.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh my God. Guys, literally, like, we are in charge of our own life, right? Like, as much as we can control. And the thing is, we can always control the way that we experience things, whether they're hardships, whether they're exciting moments in our life, whatever it might be. We control how we feel, right? In all of those moments. So you can you can either kind of dwell in the negativity of the moment, or you can excel by using it as a learning moment. And then in the positive moments where you reflect on those bad times, they help you remember how good those good times are. But you couldn't have gotten to that feeling without experiencing those bad times. And that's so important. And I don't even feel like I want to go over the rest, because that's basically what we just said a second ago. That's so cool. I love that. Okay.
Taking control of the reins of being the Lord in the land of my brain, and I loosen the chains that are causing the pain. Put a stain on my name with the face, let me say, make it rain down the rain, down the rain, down the chains, and I rise to the top like a bubble champagne. It's so hard to explain, need to use my left brain. I am switching, the lens gonna change. Closure on this.
I can't. I need to go back to listen to that all one more time, because that was so well done. But I think the takeaway here is, yeah, you gotta become kind of the driver of your car, which is your mind. You got to learn how to become the person who's at the lead, right? Oh my God. Okay.
Taking control of the reins of being the Lord in the land of my brain, and I loosen the chains that are causing the pain. Put a stain on my name with the face, let me say, make it rain down the rain, down the rain, down the chains, and I rise to the top like a bubble champagne. It's so hard to explain, need to use my left brain. I am switching, the lens gonna change.
And then all of the things that are going on in his mind show up in the lyric video. That's so cool. But yeah, so it's fate taking control of the reins, right? Like, so one of the things is, it could be that fate is taking control, or that we're saying, fate, nah, what is fate? I'm taking control of the reins, right? And then on top of that, it's and being the lord of the brain, because it's whichever one, fate or you, is now in charge of your brain, right? The land of your brain. And you think of it like taking the reins as like the horse, right? The leader or the king who's on their horse. Except the king, either it's supposed to be you that we're talking about here, or fate is the king, and you feel like there's someone who's telling you how you should feel or how life should go. But I'm leaning towards that we are taking control, because that whole part there was pink, right, to represent that up. So it's almost like we are now taking control of our own destiny, which is what that's meant to be, right? And then one of the things that's said there is making it rain down nothing but change, right? Because we do need to change the way that we're perceiving the world, the way that we orient ourselves in our mind, in every experience of life, to be a more positive mindset. And that's kind of what Ren's whole thing is. He wants to spread that positivity, and he's doing it right here too, saying that he's making changes in his own life to help emphasize that positivity. And then he says, then I rise to the top like a bubble champagne. And it's not I rise to the top. It's very important. That then is very important, because we're saying after we've had that change in mind, that change in the way that we perceive things, that's when we start to rise like a bubble of champagne. Like a bubble of champagne or a bubbly champagne? Like a bubble of champagne, yeah. And he says it's so hard to explain. Need to use my left brain, and then I'm switching. The lane's gonna change again because we're seeing more change, right? We're changing literally the way that our brain is functioning in order to produce this positivity, this up, right? That experience of the bubble, and that's what we were saying earlier. Is when he mentioned, I think someone mentioned the bubble, right? Let me go back and just check that real quick. So I did go back and check. It was actually that he said balloon earlier, and now it's bubble. But that's what we were saying earlier, is that like if you think of a balloon, if you fill it with helium, it goes up, and this is like a bubble going up, like a bubbly champagne, right? And that's what he's trying to say here. And I love this because yeah, it's really like mindset changes everything. There was a time where I was not a super upbeat, positive person, and I realized that I wasn't enjoying life as much when I constantly viewed the negatives. So instead, I did kind of what's being said in the song, and I rearranged the way that I view life, to view life through a positive lens, even when you're experiencing those hardships. Because yeah, life can suck at times. Like, don't get me wrong, life can be very, very difficult. But like we've talked about before in many different songs, particularly of Ren, like it is hardships that help you love and live life to the fullest. And that's what he's saying that we need to do here. But honestly, this part, this got me when we see it all. Oh no, not this, not this.
Gonna change.
That. Come on. What a clever way to do that lyric. Like, to show all the things that are going on in your mind, because it was so fast. This is literally like him kind of almost word vomiting, right? Using the more descriptive side of his brain to put everything down on paper. Yo, God.
Then I rise to the top like a bubble champagne. It's so hard to explain. Need to use my left brain. I am switching, the lane's gonna change. Closure on this roller coaster. I'm a poster child, bipolar. Loner with the smoking motor. Soldier with the broken holster. Focus, don't go down in smoke. Then choke on coke and overdose. Just stand your ground. Stay humble, proud, and lucky like a four-leaf clover. It's so hard, come on.
Okay, wow. Like, yeah. So closure on this roller coaster, because you almost feel like you want to experience, like, when is this going to end? When is this moment going to end? And that's why the screen was all blue, right? Because it's like, can we get some closure from this pain? And then what we're saying here is that he's a poster child bipolar, where he's like almost like the ideal bipolar representative, right? Because it's like, one, when you think about bipolar, it's a disorder that I think he was told he might have. I don't want to say for sure because I'm not 100% sure. But then on top of that, bipolar is like the ups and downs, right? Because there's the manic and the depressive side of life, right? That you experience when you're bipolar. And that's kind of what he's showing us here. And he says loner with a smoking motor, because it's like you're supposed to be going forward, but your motor is almost on fire. So you're not actually able to go forward. And it feels like everyone else has left you behind, because everyone else has gone forward in their vehicle because their motors are functioning correctly. And you look at everyone else, you're like, well, I guess it's just me, right? But in reality, like, everyone experiences hardships. We just don't think about that, right? Because we quite often, this is going to go on a side tangent here a little bit, when we're using social media a lot, we're always exposed to kind of like the positive side of things. For most people, like, most people are not going to post like, oh, I'm having a really bad day, question, or like with like teary face, right? That doesn't really happen. we oftentimes see the best parts of people's lives through the lens of our phones or our screens. And that really makes you feel like you're alone in a lot of these moments where you're experiencing pain and you're trying to like look around like, why am I the only one? But guys, like it just happens to be that we don't talk about it enough. And that's one of the powers that Ren has, is putting out his pain for us to see that, oh, okay, so even people like Ren, who we if we were to just look at his music, like if it wasn't all the negative music, like if we think about stuff like Illest of Our Time, or like just any of his more like braggadocious songs, if we only saw that, like the way that Instagram or almost social media is, and we only saw the positive sides, well, yeah, we think Ren has it all put together and that his life is just great. But he takes time to show us the dark sides of his life and to show us that he's also experiencing pain in order to connect us all, because pain is a way to connect to other people, right? When we like have that empathy towards others, it creates a bond, and that's what he does for us, what we should be doing for other people. And that's kind of what we're saying here, is that like you even though you feel like everyone else has left you behind, like it makes you feel like you have a broken motor and you're just the only person there, like a loner. I really enjoyed that. And then he says soldier with a broken holster, and we see the holster split or broken split, because it's like the weapon that you're supposed to use to battle life feels like it's broken, so you lost it, right? And you feel like you're a soldier in life, just supposed to be marching forward, but you can't, because now your gun is broken or your gun is gone, and so you literally don't even have anything to fight back at life with, the hardships of life. And that's such a great like metaphor for that. But then also focus, don't go down in smoke. One, the smoke on the battlefield. Two, the smoke of the motor that we just talked about, right? So it's focus, don't let that smoke, that pain that you're experiencing take you over. Recenter, go back to the positive side, think about the good things, right? Like remember that there will be pain, but that pain will end. And because that's how life is, it's that up and down. And so he's saying, yeah, don't go down in smokes, whether it's the smoke of the motor, the smoke of the war that you're battling, or whether it's like the smoke of kind of the pains of your life. And I love that. And it's this metaphorical writing that I love digging into. And so this might be a relatively long video, but I'm sorry. I think most people that are on the channel or like watching the channel kind of enjoy that. Most people in the community seem to enjoy that, so I'm going to keep sticking with it. But I love this. Like this kind of metaphorical, very amazing writing. This is like the best thing to see in music. And then also stand your ground, stay humble, proud, and lucky like a four-leaf clover, where it's like even if you're maybe not best equipped to deal with the situation, just pray that luck is on your side too, right? And that's fine. That's fine. Sometimes it might just be luck that lets you squeak on by, but don't complain about that. That just means, you know what? The cards are in your favor. And that's great. It's nice to have the cards in your favor sometimes. Oh, man. Okay. Oh, and then, sorry, just one thing. Don't choke on coke and overdose, because that's one of the coping methods, right? You kind of resort to using drugs or using some sort of substance to help you kind of elevate your feeling or your mood, right? Whether it's coke, whether it's antidepressants, whether it's whatever it might be. And sometimes people use it too much, and that ends up being a problem. And then you end up choking and overdosing on it. And that's where the problem lies, is don't just rely on that to elevate your mood. Learn how to kind of use the pains of life to emphasize the goodness. Oh my God.
Stand your ground, stay humble, proud, and lucky like a four-leaf clover.
Sorry. Wow, I love his voice. But when we say clover, it goes from blue to pink, because that's that moment where we're like, okay, yeah, you're right. Take that energy, stand your ground. And that's what we're doing. Oh my God. Oh.
Proud and lucky like a four-leaf clover.
All the way down.
Oh. See this life, I'ma fall, I'ma stumble, boy. I try to make friends with my pain, cause my pain keeps me humble, boy.
Oh. Guys, yeah, life can be tough sometimes. But honestly, we only got one of them, as far as we know. So if we only have that one, we got to make the best of it, right? Life is going to give us hardships. Life is going to give us pain. but it's what we do with those hardships and pains that's the most important, because we are all going to go through those experiences. And if we learn to kind of reorient the way that we're thinking about them, well, maybe, just maybe, that helps us make life even better than it already had been. And that's what the most important part about life is, learning how to kind of take the punches, learning how to learn from your mistakes, but then using them to elevate everything else. I love that so much. Oh, Ren, do you ever miss? I don't think it's possible. But on top of that, like, it's just the styles that he has, man. Like, this is so, and obviously Eden Nash. Like, Eden Nash was fantastic too. But it's just like, I've never seen like a chameleon like this. I think the closest thing is Ed Sheeran. Also, I went to an Ed Sheeran concert. That was amazing. That's for a different day because I have ideas. But it's this thing where Ren can basically just like slip into any genre and just own it. Just command the genre like the person on the horse with the reins, right? Just take it by the reins and make it something out of this world. And he's so good at that. Like, just so fantastic. I love that so much. I have not seen many artists that can do this, and it's such a unique, talented trait. And I just honestly, this is part of the reason why Ren, like, you can't get tired of the Ren rabbit hole, because it's like you're experiencing a different person every time he switches up the genre, switches up the flow. And that's what makes him so special, and his music's so enjoyable, because it's never the same, but it's always awesome. All right. If you stayed and you watched the whole time, I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you, whether you stayed or not. But very nice of you to stay this whole time. I realize that sometimes I go on a tangent, but it is what it is. I love each and every one of you. I hope that your week is better than your day, your month is better than your week, and your year is better than your month. And if it's not, I hope that we can change the way that we're thinking about it and make it feel just as good. See you on the next one. Love you all.